me invite Vice President Yoon Young-soon, and let's watch the clip first.
I studied in immunity, radiology immunity, cancer immunity. I've been studying in this area for 37 years. As I spent a lot of time in this area, that is why I could develop HemoHIM. Where the name come from? HIM-1-2. This is what we called it. Why did we call it HIM? Hematopoiesis. It's H is from this word, and I from immunity, and M from modulation, which means improvement and enhancement. So HIM. So what is more important, H or I? H is more important, so I add one more H. So we call it HemoHIM. Him in Korean means power, so many people like this name. So what is HemoHIM? It can increase your balance for immune cells, and it can also improve the function of regenerative cells. What is the correlation between immunity and fatigue improvement? Fatigue and immune enhancement have something in common. If you feel fatigue, you get a cold. So if you improve your fatigue, then your immunity will also be enhanced, and vice versa. Fatigue is the reason for reduced immunity. So if you feel fatigue, you can have HemoHIM when you go outside Korea for work, and when you have to work overnight, you can eat HemoHIM. If you feel fatigue, then your immune system can also be decreased. So they have very common ground, and it is a very complex design. It is here you can see antioxidant effect for regeneration, to regenerate our cells, and here you can see the Y effect, which means the function that the body can create blood, and for the Z effect, it is about the improvement of immune system. So we have X, Y, Z effect, three different effects: antioxidant regeneration, blood generation, and immune improvement. So this is the basic design for a HemoHIM ingredient. So this is something that we have anticipated from the very first phase, and we got the recognition by proving it. So when you buy a new car and when you drove it for 1 minute, then the car becomes a used car. The same goes for human beings. We are the healthiest at the age of 30, but after that age, we feel fatigue, and immune system is also decreased. So the correlation between fatigue and immunity is very close. Our body, we can feel the damage when it is damaged by 80%. But you can lower the threshold toward 30% by having HemoHIM. If you feel like your immunity is lower than before, then you can have HemoHIM to improve immunity to get the balance back. And you can prevent getting a cold, and having the HemoHIM is enough for your health. Why should we have HemoHIM? When we got the patent, I was thrilled. I did it. I made it. I proved the function. So I put all the knowledge that I accumulated for more than 3 decades. So I put everything I had in this one product. I got some national support as I worked as a researcher for national institutes, and I was thrilled to provide a contribution for the global health. And I ask myself every day, can I have something that is better than HemoHIM? My answer is no. HemoHIM is the best. HemoHIM has a lot of ingredients, and antioxidant is the key. Antioxidant effect can improve immunity and can also reduce fatigue. So fatigue reduction and immune enhancement, dual functionality is something that we proved this time. If you feel fatigue, then your immune system can also reduce. So you need to understand the correlation between them, between fatigue and immune system to improve your health. Thank you very much. I am Yoon Song, the Vice President at Atomy. So let me again talk about HemoHIM. Finally, you will be very aware of the function of immune enhancement, but it is recognized to have one more function, the fatigue reduction function. So it has the dual functionality. As you saw from the clip, can we imagine something better than HemoHIM? No. My answer is no. If your family member can find something that is better than HemoHIM in fatigue and immunity, if you can feel like you can find one, then please tell me. So I want to go there and work for that company. And there's no one single product that is better than HemoHIM. HemoHIM can improve immunity and fatigue. It has 22 patents and 25 papers. And among our competitors, we are number one. As you are well aware, our sales numbers are higher than Korean ginseng. We've sold 2 trillion Korean won, and we are selling it to 19 countries, but plus Alpha as well. In June, I visited Tanzania. We don't have our branch in Tanzania. I participated there for my Christian members, Christian society, and a doctor from Europe was having HemoHIM. I was so surprised to see that. I asked him, "Where did you get it?" And he said, "I like." He said, "I really like this HemoHIM, so I got this from other countries." And so, the effect is amazing. We have 35 papers for HemoHIM, but only 2 functions are recognized, fatigue and immunity. So do you think we have more? Yes, we have more, but they are not yet recognized, officially recognized. So we cannot officially say the product has many more functions. And if we met personally, then I can tell you many more functions like antioxidant, and it's good for hair loss as well. Some people just apply HemoHIM on their scalp, and some people take put this in milk, full calcium, and it's also good for sleep, right? So a lot of different functions. And someone is washing their face with HemoHIM. So it has endless functions. And we have 35 papers for many different effects. So we will continue to get more recognition for more functions. As you are well aware, HemoHIM can enhance the NK cells for immunity, and it can also enhance cytokine, and it can also increase the number of immune cells to perfectly create a trio for the three different cells. It has a very perfect function for immunity, and the same goes for fatigue improvement. Fatigue is something that we feel every day, right? On our website, you can see a lot of reviews for HemoHIM saying that my daughter is getting better, my son is getting better after having HemoHIM. So you can see a lot of reviews. When I was a medical school student, I went to the church on the Sunday, and I felt bad here. And I searched books. Do you know what appendix is? And I felt like it was like a appendicitis. So I asked a friend to check my abdomen, and we went to the emergency room, and many of my friends told me to get a surgery. But I lived in Cheongju, so it was far away from home. So no one can take care of myself. So I decided to go back to my hometown at 1 a.m. and I called my mom at 1 a.m. saying that I have to get a surgery for appendicitis. And she said, okay. I felt weird. And I arrived at the hospital and I called her again. I have to be hospitalized. And she said, okay. I got it, okay. I felt weird. I called her again. I have to get a surgery. I have to get the appendicitis surgery next morning. And she said, hey, I said I got it. Why are you keep calling me? What is it? I thought. I 100% understand her. Why? She was very busy to sell briquette, and she had to remove and she had to take care of 3,000 briquette every day. So I understand her. Why did she so? Why didn't she why didn't she take care of myself? Why? Because she felt fatigue. Now I think if she was not feeling fatigue, if she was not exhausted, then he would be very worried about me. But she didn't because she was exhausted. Fatigue can destroy your family. Fatigue can destroy mother and son relationship. Fatigue is something that we need to prevent for our personal relationships. So improving fatigue and preventing fatigue is very important. You can see many different symptoms like forgetting something. It is related to fatigue, and hard to get asleep. It is also related to fatigue. Headache, dizziness, and you can also feel digestion problem, and you might feel numbness in hands and feet. You feel cold in your hands and feet. They are all related to fatigue. So fatigue contributes to a lot of symptoms. This is called chronic fatigue syndrome. You feel you have the forgetfulness, you feel the numbness in hands and feet, you have the dizziness, acne, and digestion problem, and you also feel pain in your muscle, which is called fibromyalgia. And if you feel frustrated and if you feel angry, then in Korea we call it the angry disease. And everything is related to one thing, which is fatigue. Of course, there are a lot of causes of these symptoms: stress or infection, decreased immune function, or imbalance of hormone, and the imbalance of neurotransmitters. If you feel like you are very angry because of the stress from mother-in-law, that's not true. That is not because of your mother-in-law, and that is because of your fatigue. Those who have a lot of free time, those who don't feel fatigue, even when their mother-in-law is very bad, they don't feel angry. But regarding neurotransmitters, this is something very hard to change. But the three things, stress, infection, and the decreased immune function, the three things can be improved by HemoHIM. Why? HemoHIM has the two Angelica and Tiangong, the two main ingredients. The two ingredients can reduce stress. It can reduce mental stresses, and it can also provide our body with antioxidants to remove active oxygen to help you feel relaxed. And the two ingredients can reduce your stress, and it can also improve your immunity to prevent some infections and improve immune functions. So the three causes, stress, infection, and decreased immune function, the three causes of fatigue can be controlled by HemoHIM. During the pandemic, we had a lot of patients in my clinic, but after the pandemic, we see a lot of people feeling fatigued and exhausted. So we say that they are suffering from long COVID because they feel a lot of bad conditions even after COVID-19. And those long COVID patients, why are they feeling those longer term conditions? I did my research on a lot of papers, And here's something very interesting. Most of the patients have decreased function for NK cells. And when it is very serious, when the fatigue is very serious, their NK cells are more suffering from lower functions. And HemoHIM can activate NK cells, right? So if you get a cold or if you get COVID-19, then you can have twice HemoHIM because it can activate your NK cells and it can also reduce a lot of conditions related to fatigue. A lot of symptoms related to fatigue. So HemoHIM can actually control and address many different things. It is really surprising, right? The Seoul National University had a test regarding fatigue. The first one is FSS and MFI. What is FSS? FSS refers to fatigue severity scale, and MFI refers to multi-dimensional fatigue inventory. And it makes you, and because of MFI, you cannot start something, and because of the first parameter, you have to stop doing something. And when one of the parameters are improved, that means that ingredient can be very helpful for improving fatigue. And we got the improvement for both parameters.
So HemoHIM could be helpful to both of them. So thanks to HemoHIM, the parameter from the two experiments worked better. So how come it could be so effective? It is thanks to the hemopoietic function. Thanks to the length of our blood vessel is about 120,000 kilometers. It's like a 4 cycle of the Earth. So this is really long vessels. And HemoHIM could expand the vessels and it could help circulation of the blood. So thanks to this effectiveness, we could reduce the fatigue and HemoHIM could have better circulation of blood. So if any one of us here are working on the briquettes business, if you take HemoHIM, you get more energized thanks to HemoHIM. So before you start work, please take a sachet of HemoHIM. Like let's say you need to carry a heavy thing, or if you need to work in a field, you need to take one. After that, you could if you have to play a basketball, if you need to play soccer, please take HemoHIM, and then you will feel that you have better recovery after doing that exercise. So we have the innate immune system. I would like to introduce about this. In our immune cell, there are two different things. First one is innate immunity, and the second one is adaptive immunity. When an enemy intrudes, innate immunity fights first, and adaptive immunity is preparing as a backup, and they are choosing whom to fight and which weapon should be used. And then they selected the best troops and they let them fight in front of them. So if you want to be effective, all of the innate immunity and adaptive immunity need to be activated all together. In that way, the immunity could be effective. So let me take an example, and let me take an example of the Korean War. When the North Korean soldiers intruded, the soldiers up front fought first, and then they transferred the information to the soldiers as a backup. And they said there are a lot of tanks, and we need to be prepared for that. Because there are so many tanks, we need to be prepared for it. And then the soldiers who got that information worked as a cytokine. And then the cytokine transfer all of the information and they selected the best troop. And then they could also dispatch some airplanes or the tanks. And then they started to fight against the tanks. And then the better tank came and they also started to fight with the tank from the North Korea. But the war lasted for a year and 2 years and 3 years. And most of the soldiers lost their lives. And we have a lack of soldiers. So we need to train new soldiers and we need to dispatch the soldiers to the war field. And this is what we call the activation of the immune cells. So how we could maintain the best cells? First of all, we need to have NK cell who will fight against the enemy. Secondly, we need cytokine who will transfer the information and select the troops. And also we need the immune cells who will train the new soldiers and dispatch them to the war field. We need the best combination of these three, and HemoHIM could do that. Nothing on the earth could do this work. Fine, search for it. There's nothing on this earth who could work as HemoHIM. HemoHIM could do all of this work, and we got the full portfolio in terms of the immunity. There's nothing on this earth. Sometimes I think like, is it a medicine? Because its efficacy is so perfect. So I think it's better than medicine. And this is also the result from the clinical trial. As I mentioned earlier, it helps our immune function. And please look at the last clause. It could also reduce the level of stress. In every result, we could get the result related to stress. HemoHIM could reduce our stress. Stress could be divided into two. First one is the psychological stress, and the second one is physical stress, which is related to the active oxygen. And active oxygen could make our body fatigue, and HemoHIM could be working in both of them. It could reduce the psychological stress and the physical stress at the same time. Because in HemoHIM, we have the beautiful ingredients, angelica roots and the cyanidin. And also, we could get the result that HemoHIM is also helpful to reduce our stress. We're living in a house, regardless of the size. I think no one here lives in a small tent. But as we live in the house, we need to clean the house properly. If we don't, the house will damage a lot. We need to control and we need to manage our house. In the summer, we need to turn on the air conditioner, and in the winter, we need to also turn on the heater. We need to provide energy, we need to clean it for our house. The same goes for our body. In order to relieve the fatigue, we need to clean the house and we need to manage the house. So what if there is an enemy, or what if there is a severe weather condition that could destroy house? In our body, the immunity could protect our body from these kind of external factors. In order to live a balanced life, we need the great functions that immunity has, so that HemoHIM could make our body balanced when we control the fatigue and immunity at the same time. And HemoHIM can control both of them, so HemoHIM could have this kind of great efficacies. So to sum up, we could cover the immune factor, and at the same time, HemoHIM could decrease our fatigueness at the same time. The mental and the physical fatigue could be covered by HemoHIM. So immunity and fatigue are the two functions that HemoHIM could help. And thanks to this function, we could live a very balanced life. We could boost up the immunity and we could reduce the fatigue with HemoHIM. you to take pride in our product. So when you meet a person for the first time, if you think what kind of product you need to give, you sometimes give like vitamin product or other drinks. So for those of you, we will introduce a new product, which is HemoHIM shot. It's kind of like drink, HemoHIM drink, so that you could introduce our product by giving out this kind of new drinks. So you could give this product to the new people, and then they will recognize how effective the product is. And we could also show the efficacy of this product right away. Before I conclude my presentation, when I say Atomy, please say HemoHIM, Atomy. Thank you very much.